method of business would persist until the formation of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1948. The NWA as a central governing body, with its singular, undisputed world champion, would be absolute and undeniable. This control, combined with the expansion of the interstate highway system, and the inevitable popularity and availability of regional television, would usher in an era of wrestling that was defined by what would come to be known as the territory system. The territory system would dominate wrestling for nearly 4 decades, while the borders, authority, popularity, and obedience of individual NWA territories was in a near constant state of flux. To this day, the impact and influence of these territories is still felt. Each territory had its own signature promoter and star. While it is impossible to cram these characteristics into a static, concrete map, we are damn sure going to try anyway.
So open up your eyes, way before it gets too late. Now one man, there's no way you can. Hit the street lights running, don't give a damn. A simple explanation that you'll never find. Sinners never sacrifice. We never leave love alone. Is hate really worth the price? Look at what we've done. Never care for compromise. Always threatening someone's life, and it feels like the end of the world.
All right, it's Friday, and it's This Week in Pro Wrestling with your host, Mike Monty and Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy, This Week in Pro Wrestling, buddy.
Here we are. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, guys, so what a week for wrestling. Big deal. You had the MJF thing come up, then we find out that CM Punk is hurt, and you got to expect a huge, well, we'll talk about that, but a huge boost. But AEW still fails to crack 1 million viewers this week. AEW brought the Fallout episode of Dynamite after Double or Nothing, after MJF, after they have a Battle Royal announced,
right,
and they're going to have an interim champion, right, CM Punk, and they get 939,000.
Boy, they're red hot on Twitter, though.
What is going on with AEW?
What do you mean? They got their little audience, and it ain't getting any bigger.
But why?
This is the niche.
Why?
This is the niche they sell to. We are the alternative to WWE. You immediately handicap yourself. Don't you realize it? It's hilarious.
Can they change this momentum?
Sure, if they want to become a little bit more like WWE and get better writing and like turn it into an over-the-top show and try to make it Super Bowl feelish the way Vince does, but they won't. This is their niche. This is their audience. Their audience is happy with it. And here's the worst part. The audience who wants to conquer Vince McMahon so badly doesn't give a shit if there's not another fan added because they like what they like. There you go.
So you think that Tony Khan is just playing to that minority?
I think that Tony Khan was playing to that minority. I think that Tony Khan would love to play more to Vince McMahon's crowd and take his fans. That's what I think.
And why can't they?
They can't because they haven't been able to get the right formula. They keep taking from Vince's company. They needed to build their own stars. Instead of building their own stars, they have the Young Bucks, who was one of the pinnacles of their cornerstone of their stars, losing to the Hardy Boys. They have MJF, who's a homegrown, their star. They're pissing them off and underpaying them.
But let me challenge you.
They're not doing it right. They're doing it a little like WCW.
But let me challenge you on this then.
Go ahead.
So you're saying, hey, push that homegrown talent.
Sure.
But clearly the homegrown talent's not making the needle
Depends
move.
on the homegrown talent and how you push them. I mean, I think MJF should have had the belt.
But, dude, you're saying
That's my opinion.
MJF came off one of the hottest promos and the hottest angles in wrestling.
That's right.
900.
That's right.
39,000.
And here's the beauty of it. If MJF shows up on Vince's program, 2.4.
So are you trying to tell me no matter what AEW does, it doesn't matter?
What they're doing right now, to me, doesn't matter, and they need to reevaluate their approach. They are plucking a ton of WWE guys, and it's just like WCW. If you're going to be your own thing, be your own thing. Don't you realize that's why we're still talking about ECW a quarter of a century later? They didn't have a massive payroll. They didn't have a bunch of famous people. They had their own guys, and they grew their own guys, and it worked. This is what they got to do. They ain't doing it. Was it the wrong thing to have Hangman Adam Page lose to CM Punk? No, it wasn't. So I guess this is contradictory a little bit, what I'm saying. But I feel like if MJF had been the champion for the last couple of years, driving people nuts and beating guys like Chris Jericho, beating guys like CM Punk, you've made yourself a star. He's your guy. He's your star. Instead, they've managed to play cutesy-wootsy, getting all the WWE guys, downplaying MJF, downpaying MJF. It's a mistake.
So are you trying to tell all these anti-WWE wrestling podcasters, the pro wrestling experts,
I'm laughing already. Go ahead.
Guess what? Better off having your wrestling with a man getting trapped in a mousetrap than what you're presenting now.
Yeah, you got to understand what sells tickets. And like I said in the beginning, like they've blurred their vision. If I was the diehard fan, I would be starting to get offended. You're bringing one WWE guy in here after another. The selling point in the beginning was we are not the WWE. We are the alternative. We are better than the WWE. Jon Moxley, Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry, Cody gave you guys the bird already. You know, how many guys can we name that came from Vince's company? This is WCW, and it's not even on that level. WCW got millions.
Good points.
To watch them.
Hard to
watch them. Millions.
Hard to argue with that.
Them's
On the
the
other
facts.
hand, Raw gets a big post Hell in a Cell bump. Coming from Hell in a Cell, Raw averaged 1.87 million viewers, which draw
1.87.
a .52 in the demo.
That's twice AEW.
Now, well, here's the thing. I believe, number one, we'll talk about it in a minute, but Cody brought himself to a next level.
Cody's great.
But
Yep.
like I thought, I was really fully expecting the return of Bray Wyatt, as I think 1.87 million
Maybe.
felt the same thing.
I don't think that they were there to see if Bray Wyatt was going to show up. I don't feel that. I feel that, guys like Cody Rhodes are fantastic. The WWE was smart to bring in a guy like Cody Rhodes. And don't worry, I think Bray's coming back. I think he's coming. And it's another excellent addition. You don't see. Vince is very smart with who. If he ever plucks people from AEW, he's going to pluck the right ones. Because that's what Vince does.
Thoughts on
That's what Vince does.
Edge being turned on so soon in this faction?
It was cool, the double turn. Here's Balor. What the hell? And then there's the turn on Edge. That was cool. I'm not as sold, maybe as you. We talked about it during the week. I'm not as sold on Finn Balor's supporting cast as maybe you. I'm not sure. I don't see great things for that faction because I'm pessimistic as to how they book Balor. Balor in New Japan, when he was Prince Devitt and he was forming something called the Bullet Club, which is, obviously legendary and groundbreaking, was tremendous. I'm afraid that they're not going to follow through with much of a push for this faction. I mean, what is the end result going to be for this faction? I'm also not completely sold on Damian Priest. I love his speaking voice, but I'm not so sure about his physical build. Sometimes he feels a little awkward to me. That's me. He's got a great voice. He's got a good look, but there's something.
I wasn't a big Rhea Ripley fan. I did like Damian Priest. I think Rhea Ripley is a perfect fit for this.
More vicious, please. I'd like to see more viciousness out of her.
I thought the Finn Balor thing was a weird entrance when he came.
Yeah.
But kind of like the idea of Edge getting turned on.
No,
but I mean,
that
where
was
does it
fine.
go from here? You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Balor and Edge are going to get to give us a clinic. That's what I'm thinking. Finn Balor versus Edge is a great matchup as a wrestling fan.
All right.
They'll
Tale
kill
of
each
two
other.
wrestlers. Cody Rhodes
Yeah.
participates in Hell in a Cell with a ripped pec muscle, which everybody's aware.
He's out of his mind.
And
but-
CM Punk
right.
is now become he's still AEW champion, sorry. But they will fill with an interim champion who eventually will wrestle CM Punk when he heals.
When he
Thoughts
returns.
on both wrestlers?
Well, I mean, Cody Rhodes really, gained a ton of respect from obviously thousands, if not over 1 million people.
You gained my respect, and you know how much I didn't like
Yeah,
Cody
you were
Rhodes.
totally like, oh, I don't know about Cody, but now you see that, Cody Rhodes has done nothing but great things since he got here. It has been a Grand Slam home run. I'm frustrated as shit that he's hurt. I'm really upset because I wanted to see that keep going. As far as Phil goes, and we've covered this in the past, now Phil has a built-in excuse. I got hurt. Now you can blame the I got hurt card, because if it wasn't going to be that, it was going to be somebody's fault. If this didn't turn into, excuse me, AEW, conquering WWE, Phil was going to come up with some reason. Now he could just say I got hurt. Perfect.
And that's why the ratings still suck.
Wah. Yeah.
That's a good point.
There you go.
Some other news for people out there. A new homecoming for 2 WWE stars. It looks like Apollo Crews along with Commander Aziz have been moved to the NXT roster.
Downgrade.
Why?
It's a downgrade.
Why?
No one's watching NXT anymore.
NXT had a 25% boost in viewership last
Congratulations. You went from 2 to 3 people or something? Or 2.5?
Don't get
no,
crazy.
Look,
Come on.
I used to love NXT. NXT has completely jumped the shark. NXT 2.0 with the pink whatever logo or whatever. Boo.
Braun Breaker.
Yeah. Yay. You just
Toxic
named
Attraction.
the one. Stop
Toxic-
it. I don't care.
Wait a minute,
Bring
hold on.
Mandy up to
But
the big show
that-
with her girls.
But has NXT
No.
changed your
Say it
opinion?
no already. Go ahead.
Changed your opinion about Mandy Rose? Has Mandy Rose now become a player where she was just a piece of the puzzle in the main roster? Now is she a main player?
As Bob Dylan said to the Beatles when they presented some more mature songs, oh, I get it, you're done being cute now. Yes, I understand that. Mandy Rose has become much more badass and more what she needs to be if she's going to be. Look, she was a Barbie doll for the most part in her run with the WWE.
Fair enough.
So, like now, yes, it's better. My objection is that it's being wasted on a show that is really not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being hard on NXT.
But my question to
NXT
you:
used to be way,
how is
way
it
more.
wasted when eventually, when Toxic Attraction comes up to the main
Oh,
roster,
get 'em up again here.
everybody knows they're who they are.
I
They're
guess.
definitely a great little faction.
But do they know who they are through watching NXT every week for 60 minutes, or do they know who they are from checking the YouTube fast clip videos and reading
Does it
about
matter?
them? It does to me. You know.
Hey, let's not forget, Mandy Rose gets like 1,000,000 hits
Mandy
a
Rose
day.
is awesome.
right?
Again, this is not about Mandy Rose. I just would like to see her moved up to the.
But
big
couldn't the
program.
same thing happen for Apollo Crews?
No,
Commander Aziz.
no, it's not. I mean, what's he going to do? Win the NXT title? Dolph Ziggler just did that. What are we going to do this every time we got a guy that we can't figure out what to do with on the main program? We'll send him down.
Well,
I feel like that was a demotion.
Speaking of Toxic Attraction, on Wednesday, Dolan was teaming with Mandy Rose and Jace Jane to take on Cora Jade, Indy Hartwell, and Roxanne Perez in the final match of the Bachelor. So this is for taping for June 5th, 14th. Sorry.
Right.
Jade reportedly hit Dolan with a cannonball before getting rushed for the pinfall at the end of the match. Dolan received an ovation to the crowd as she was helped back up, so she got hurt.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No, I don't know. I mean, is it a big deal? I mean, how badly is she hurt?
All right, how about this? The Dark Side of the Ring creators collaborate with the WWE to make something happen. Looks like they're going to be teaming up with the WWE and start producing something.
Are you surprised at this? I kind of am.
I'm a little disappointed.
Meaning what? What is Vince going to water down Dark Side of the Ring?
It's not that.
Like
there was
MJF if he
something
comes here?
special about Dark Side of the Ring.
Right. They're selling
It's
out.
it's kind of funny. Even the things like when they used to send out the titles when like what they were going to be about, like the plane ride from hell.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to watch that. Who the fuck cares about that?
Right.
That ended up being this
That was
incredible,
awesome.
right?
I watched that.
Oh, who's the guy that's that does that fighting with the
The fighting?
no the blood wrestling with the light bulbs and all that shit. It was that guy.
Oh my God! Yeah.
But anyway, whatever that guy's name was.
I know what you're talking
I was thinking,
about.
like, why are they telling a story about this guy?
Gage.
Nick
Yeah,
Gage.
Nick Gage, man. That guy's a psycho.
And I got to tell you, another great episode.
Yeah, it was.
We
He's
just
insane.
spoke about last week the passing of Melanie Pillman.
Right.
I mean, that two-part
Right.
series on
Right.
Pillman was incredible.
Right. So why are you disappointed? You think that they're going to be watered down now? They're going to have a cleaner presentation?
I think it's going to be
'Cause
more
Vince is-
WWF oriented, right? So
Yeah.
again, Nick Gage, I knew nothing about that guy until again,
Right.
I'm not the great pro wrestling fan. Everybody knows that at this point,
come on,
right?
We're not.
I didn't know anything about Nick Gage, but now I know Nick Gage.
Right, sure.
And I'm interested in Nick Gage.
Sure.
You know,
What are you
I
saying?
know-
That Vince wouldn't want them to do something?
No,
on Nick?
they won't. It's going to
Then
be
what are they
all
going to cover?
Who knows? Superstar Billy Graham.
Oh, God.
You know, look, we know all the WWE
Yeah.
guys. We know all the stories.
Right.
It's the stories that we don't know that are interesting.
Right. I don't know, man. I think you're right. I think it's going to be watered down. That's what I think. But I don't get it though. How come that worries you? But when you're not worried about other people coming from another company and being watered down.
Meaning
is
what?
Is MJF safe when he comes here?
I don't think he's coming here.
Really?
I've changed my mind on that whole thing.
Well, you don't. So the whole thing's a work.
Well, I knew it was a work to begin with, but I thought maybe there was some
somewhat.
truth that he did want to jump ship at some point.
Right,
But now I'm just feeling like I think they're overplaying their hand. It's like there comes a point when you now, after it was such a great little angle, now you realize that it's a total work. The fun out of it, just the air, at least for me, came out of that balloon.
Right.
And that's a problem.
Right.
You know, I was like, man, I'm pumped up for this. And now it's like, ugh. You know, what are you going to do? Like we said, he's going to come back, anti-Tony Khan. Tony Khan's going to become a player, try to be the next Vince McMahon.
God.
And again,
That'll be awful.
we'll still have the same 900,000 viewers that you get every week.
Right.
And again, there's nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying is stop acting like you're bigger than you are. You're not bigger than you are. Yes, you're number two, but you're number two in a land where there is nobody.
There's two.
The WWE's not even wrestling.
There's really just one.
There's really
And
one.
now
It's
there's,
AEW, really, to be honest with you.
Right.
If you talk about pure wrestling, it's AEW.
Right. Or maybe a little New Japan if you're into that. That's about it. That Lucha stuff doesn't count in Mexico. They're all over the place.
The New Japan thing, it's like when these Japan guys come out. You know, you're more of an expert.
I know
am.
quite a bit about it.
I know nothing.
Yeah.
I hear fans going woo, and I'm thinking these got to be hardcore fans because no one knows this guy.
Right. Well, in New Japan, they are as famous in their country as our American wrestlers.
So
are
we
here.
tend to think here in America, but maybe
Right.
not.
Well, in Japan, I know Tanahashi's John Cena. So.
Well, do you think that
You know.
Japan is a lot hotter than, like, meaning is it the same that we remember it in the 80s? In the 80s, it was huge, right?
Well,
That's where they went.
Right.
But now it's different.
Well, I mean, if as far as what hasn't changed in New Japan is that or in Japan in general is that once a year they have 60 to 80,000 people do like a WrestleMania. Japan is still huge. It's huge in Japan. There's a selective American audience that enjoys it.
So what do you think about this Battle Royal that happened on Wednesday night, right? They gave it to,
Kyle O'Reilly?
Yeah, it's like I'm thinking to myself, what?
Yeah.
Why didn't they have other guys in there? And you know what? The fact of the matter is, why did you put Moxley in there? Now you know
Right.
Moxley's winning
Of
it.
course.
And now what do you get? Moxley Punk?
Of course.
Big deal.
Right. I actually don't mind that matchup. But is it a big deal? At the end of the day, no. I agree with you.
Would you have rather have seen Miro win the title?
I don't like Miro. I'd rather see Moxley versus, that works. That works better.
So you're okay with Moxley?
Yeah, I'm okay with Moxley. To tell you the truth, John Moxley, I have no issue with.
How
I
about
think John
Wardlow?
Moxley's been great.
Wardlow comes out to say, "Hey, he's not going to participate in that battle royal. I think I called the Rumble before because he's solely focused on CM Punk because CM Punk's the only true champion, and then in turn challenges Scorpio Sky for the TNT title.
Who's hurt?
It's like
Isn't he
who's
hurt or
exactly.
something?
So he doesn't want to be an intern champion because he wants to fight the real champion.
Right.
Is hurt, but he challenges Scorpio.
Right, said he could put a belt on Wardlow.
Again, we tear apart WWE writing.
stop.
This shit is
That's junk.
disorganized
Absolutely.
too. It's like, what are you doing?
Absolutely. Who succeeds Punk when he does eventually come back and
Who knows?
Is Wardlow ever going to be champion?
Listen,
over
if
there?
Punk doesn't
Is that
get the
plan for
million
Wardlow?
plus
He's been
viewers,
treated like Goldberg.
if Punk doesn't get the million plus viewers, Bischoff is right. He's a total failure.
Right.
Okay, no matter what Tony Khan, how he wants to sell it.
Right.
And guess what? There's no one in line that's bigger than CM Punk in
Right.
that company
That's
right
right.
now. So
That's right.
where do you go from here?
That's right.
Nowhere.
But at the end of the day, when you got somebody into his 40s now who spent almost a decade away from wrestling, what the hell did you expect anyway?
With that, send us out. Have a good Friday night. Enjoy SmackDown and enjoy Rampage. And we'll see you Thursday on The Parent Show. Monty Nefaro, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Jimmy?
You've been watching This Week in Wrestling, and as I always say, until next week in wrestling, later.